All right, welcome to our deep dive into Robinhood crypto. We're going to unpack buying, selling, transferring crypto on their platform. And, you sent over some awesome resources, including like Robinhood's own help pages, articles comparing them to Coinbase, even some practical guides on cashing out. So what's the mission? I think figuring out if Robinhood is the right crypto platform for your journey. And I think there's going to be some surprises along the way, like the fact that Robinhood just recently enabled direct crypto transfers, OUT. They're also currently offering a 100% match on staking earnings for Solana and Ethereum. Pretty cool, huh?
It is interesting. They started as a stock trading app, only adding crypto in 2018. Really shook things up with that zero fee trading model.
Yeah, that was huge, especially for newer investors.
Mm-hmm.
But how do they make money if they're not charging fees?
They make money through what's called order flow. So when you place a buy or sell order, they route it to third-party market makers who actually execute the trade. And these market makers pay Robinhood for the opportunity.
So is that order flow affecting me as a user?
Potentially. Research suggests that due to this order flow system, you might be getting slightly worse prices on Robinhood compared to platforms that execute trades, differently. You could end up paying slightly more when buying or receiving slightly less when selling. It's kind of like a subtle cost built into the system.
Interesting. So zero fees, but potentially slightly worse prices. But on the plus side, Robinhood's interface is very user-friendly. And I do like managing my crypto next to my stocks and other investments.
Absolutely, yeah. Robinhood appeals to people who value that simplicity. And convenience. Having everything in one spot is definitely a plus.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to buy my first Bitcoin on Robinhood. What are the actual steps involved?
It's pretty straightforward. You open the app, search for Bitcoin, enter the amount you want to buy, and just swipe to confirm.
And the funds for that purchase come from, my brokerage cash, which I've deposited from my bank account.
Right, exactly, yeah. Robinhood calls it buying power. It's the cash you have available to trade.
Got it. But one thing I've heard about Robinhood, until recently, you couldn't withdraw your crypto to an external wallet. Is that right?
That is true, but they recently changed that policy. You can now transfer crypto to external wallets, which addresses one of the major criticisms people had about the platform. Before that, you could only buy and sell within Robinhood.
Why was that such a big deal for people?
It boils down to control and ownership. There's this philosophy of not your keys, not your coins. So the idea is that if you don't control the private keys to your crypto wallet, you don't truly own your crypto. You're relying on third party, in this case Robinhood, to hold it for you.
So some people prefer to store their crypto in wallets where they have full control over the keys.
Yes. That's called self-custody. It's kind of like, keeping your cash at home versus in a bank. Both have their pros and cons. With a bank, you've got convenience, some security measures, but you are relying on them to manage your money. With self-custody, you have complete control, but you're also responsible for the security of your keys and your funds.
Okay, that makes sense. So now that Robinhood allows crypto transfers, can you walk me through how I would receive Bitcoin into my Robinhood account?
It's pretty simple. Go to the Bitcoin detail page in the Robinhood app, select receive, copy your unique Bitcoin address, then paste that address into the wallet that you're sending the Bitcoin from.
And they support a decent number of coins for these transfers, right?
Yeah, they currently support over 40 cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, even some more obscure ones like official Trump, Peepa coin. It's a growing list.
Wow. Official Trump coin. Okay. Definitely conversation for another time. But back to transfers. Is there anything I need to be careful about when sending crypto to my Robinhood account?
Absolutely. The most important thing is making sure you're sending the correct cryptocurrency to the correct blockchain. Sending cryptocurrency to an incompatible address. It's kind of like sending mail to the wrong zip code. It might never arrive.
Oh, okay. So if I accidentally send, say, Bitcoin to a Bitcoin cash address, those coins are just lost forever.
That's a possibility, yeah, unfortunately. They have similar address formats, so it's a common mistake. This is why it's super important to double check those addresses and blockchain compatibility before you initiate any transfer.
Okay. Serious advice to keep in mind. But on the topic of security, they don't just let anybody start transferring crypto, right?
You're right, yeah. They've implemented a few steps to enhance security. So before you can enable transfers, you need to verify your identity, set up two-factor authentication on your account, and then there's a possible 5-day review period where they just kind of make sure everything's in order.
So they're taking security seriously. What about the security of my funds? Is my money protected in any way?
That's a great question. Robinhood offers FDIC insurance on USD balances, which is pretty standard for brokerage accounts. However, cryptocurrency is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected.
So my dollars are protected, but not my Bitcoin.
That's right. But Robinhood does take steps to secure your crypto. The majority of their crypto holdings are stored offline in cold storage, which is considered a more secure method for holding large amounts. They also have crime insurance in case of, theft or cybersecurity breaches.
Okay, so there are some safeguards in place.
Yeah.
But I've heard about withdrawal limits and fees on Robinhood. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. First, you need to understand this concept of withdrawable cash. It's not always just the total balance you see in your account. It can be affected by various factors like pending deposits, pending orders, even referral stocks you might be holding.
Oh, okay. So it can be a bit more complicated than just seeing a number and assuming I can withdraw it all.
Exactly. And then there are the actual withdrawal limits. Robinhood has different limits for standard ACH transfers and instant withdrawals to your debit card or bank account.
So if I need to withdraw a large amount quickly, I might be limited.
That's a possibility, yeah. And it's good to remember that those instant withdrawals do incur a fee, while standard bank transfers are free.
Okay, good to know. What are some common mistakes that people make with withdrawals that I should watch out for?
One common mistake is exceeding your daily withdrawal limit. It's important to check your specific limits in the app before you initiate a transfer. Another potential issue is trying to withdraw money to a different bank account than the one you originally deposited from. That could trigger a waiting period and require additional verification.
So stick to the same bank account for both deposits and withdrawals to avoid any hiccups.
Exactly. And if you ever need to cancel a withdrawal, you can usually do that in the app, as long as it hasn't been processed yet. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about how Robinhood stacks up against the competition.
Great idea. A lot of people compare Robinhood to Coinbase. What are the key differences between those two platforms?
One of the biggest differences is just the sheer number of cryptocurrencies available. Coinbase has a much larger selection with over 250 coins and tokens compared to Robinhood's 40 plus.
So if I'm looking for some obscure altcoin, I'm probably better off with Coinbase.
Most likely, yeah. Coinbase also offers more advanced features for crypto enthusiasts, like staking, these learning rewards where you earn crypto by completing quizzes, a more advanced trading platform, even things like derivatives and NFTs.
Sounds like Coinbase is a more feature-rich platform for dedicated crypto investors. But I'm guessing Robinhood has an edge in other areas.
Right. A big advantage for Robinhood is that they offer stocks, options, and ETFs all on one platform. So if you're interested in a diversified portfolio that includes both crypto and traditional assets, Robinhood might be a more convenient choice.
So it really depends on my investment goals and whether I want a platform that's laser focused on crypto or one that offers that broader range of assets.
Exactly. And it's worth mentioning that there are other competitors in the space, each with their own strengths. Binance is known for its global reach and vast selection of coins. Kraken has a strong reputation for security, and Gemini focuses heavily on compliance and regulatory standards.
Okay, so there are plenty of options out there.
Yeah.
But coming back to Robinhood, let's talk about cashing out. How do I actually turn my crypto into dollars and get it back into my bank account?
So to cash out crypto on Robinhood, you first have to sell it. You can't directly withdraw cryptocurrency. So you have to sell it for USD, which goes back to your brokerage cash. Then you can initiate a withdrawal to your linked bank account.
Okay, simple enough. Sell the crypto, transfer the dollars.
Yeah.
But what about market volatility? Crypto prices are always moving.
Yeah, that's a really important point. Prices can swing significantly. You might not get the exact price you're hoping for when you sell. To manage this risk, consider using price alerts or limit orders.
Right. So a price alert would notify me if a coin's price hits a certain level, and a limit order would automatically sell it at my chosen price.
Exactly. And before we forget, we need to touch on taxes. Any profits you make from selling crypto are subject to capital gains tax.
Oh, okay. So the tax man does get involved. How do I even begin to figure out how much tax I owe on my crypto gains?
It's not as daunting as it seems. Capital gains tax only applies when you dispose of your crypto, meaning selling it, trading it for another cryptocurrency, or using it to buy something. Simply holding crypto doesn't trigger any taxable events.
So I only pay taxes when I actually sell or trade my crypto.
Correct. And the amount of tax you owe depends on how long you held the asset before disposing of it. Short-term capital gains for assets held for 1 year or less are taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. But long-term capital gains for assets held longer than a year are taxed at a much more favorable rate.
Interesting. So holding on to your crypto for the long haul can actually save you money on taxes.
Exactly. It's one way to potentially reduce your tax burden. Now, I know calculating crypto taxes can sound complicated, but luckily there are software programs that can help you, track your transactions and calculate your gains and losses.
Phew, that's a relief. Nobody wants to wrestle with spreadsheets.
Okay, one
last question that just popped into my head. What are these account freezes I've heard about on Robinhood? Is that something I should be concerned about?
Well, while Robinhood is generally a reliable platform, there have been instances where users have experienced issues with their accounts being frozen or restricted.
What usually causes that to happen?
It could be a few things. Sometimes it's due to, suspicious activity, like trying to withdraw large sums of money to an unverified bank account, or engaging in trading patterns that trigger their anti-fraud algorithms.
So they're trying to protect themselves and their users from fraud.
Exactly. Sometimes it's due to, incomplete account verification. Robinhood is legally required to verify the identity of its users. And if there are any discrepancies or missing information, it can lead to account restrictions.
So I should double check that all my info on Robinhood is accurate and up to date. But what if my account does get frozen? What do I do?
The first step is to contact Robinhood support.
Yeah.
And try to figure out, what's causing the issue. They might ask you for additional documentation or information to verify your identity.
Okay, so just communicate with them and try to resolve it.
Exactly. Account freezes can be frustrating, but it's important to remember that they're often a security measure to protect users and the platform itself. Now let's move on to something a little more positive. Customer support.
Okay, what's the verdict on Robinhood's customer support?
It's a bit of a mixed bag. Some users praise their responsiveness and helpfulness, while others complain about long wait times and generic responses. They do offer multiple channels for contacting them through the app, their website, email, even social media.
Okay, so there are options, but I might need to be patient.
That's a good approach. Now, before we dive into more specifics, I want to emphasize the importance of doing your own research.
Absolutely, yeah. This deep dive is just a starting point.
Exactly. You should always do your own due diligence. Read independent reviews, compare different platforms, fully understand the risks. Before investing in any cryptocurrency, don't rely solely on what you hear from us or any single source.
So much good advice. Knowledge is power, especially in the world of crypto. It's essential to stay informed. Speaking of power, I'm curious about this concept of decentralization. I know it's a core principle of crypto, but how does it actually play out in the real world?
That's a great question, and it's a fundamental concept to understand. Decentralization is all about distributing power and control away from centralized authorities like big banks or governments and into the hands of the people.
So it's about shifting that balance of power.
Precisely. In traditional financial systems, we rely on intermediaries, like banks, to process transactions, to hold our funds, to enforce rules. But with decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, there is no central authority calling the shots.
So who's in charge then?
That's the beauty of it. With a decentralized system, everyone has a say. Transactions are verified and recorded on a public blockchain, which is this distributed ledger maintained by a network of computers around the world. No single entity can control or manipulate the blockchain.
It sounds incredibly secure and transparent. But how does this concept of decentralization relate to Robinhood crypto specifically?
That's where things get a bit more complex. Robinhood as a platform is centralized. They act as the custodian for your crypto assets. You don't control your private keys when you hold crypto on Robinhood.
Right, that not your keys, not your coins thing. So even though I can buy and sell decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin on Robinhood, I'm still interacting with them through a centralized intermediary.
Exactly. And that introduces a certain level of risk. You know, if something were to happen to Robinhood, like a hack, a technical failure, or even regulatory issues, your access to your crypto could be affected.
So there's a trade-off. I'm using a centralized platform to access a decentralized asset.
You got it. It highlights the ongoing tension between these two concepts in the world of cryptocurrency.
All right, that's a lot to think about. But this deep dive has been incredibly insightful so far. We've covered a lot of ground, from the basics of buying and selling on Robinhood to the complexities of transferring, cashing out, taxes, and even these bigger picture ideas like decentralization and self-custody.
It's a lot to digest, but understanding these concepts is essential for navigating the world of crypto.
Absolutely. We've still got more to uncover, so let's take a quick break and then we'll come back to explore some of Robinhood's more unique features, including their staking program and the Learn and Earn program. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We were just talking about that tension, between using a centralized platform like Robinhood to access decentralized assets like Bitcoin. It's a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah, it really gets you thinking about the pros and cons of that approach. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, Robinhood's unique approach to staking. You said they are offering a 100% match on staking rewards.
That's right, yeah. For a limited time, Robinhood is matching all staking rewards earned on Solana and Ethereum.
Whoa. Okay, so if I stake my Solana on Robinhood and I earn, say, 5% APY, they're going to give me an extra 5% on top of that.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. It's a pretty sweet deal. But it's important to remember that the APY can fluctuate and the offer itself could change at any time.
Got it. So not a guaranteed return forever, but a nice perk for now. I also remember you mentioned a Learn and Earn program. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, it's a fun way to earn small amounts of crypto by completing these educational modules about different crypto projects. So you learn about, a specific cryptocurrency, answer a few questions, and bam, you earn a little reward.
Love those kinds of programs. Great way to incentivize learning. Okay, I think we've covered most of the positives, but to be fair, let's talk about some of the drawbacks of Robinhood Crypto. For example, I've heard they have a limited selection of order types. What does that mean for me as a user?
That's a valid point. While they offer basic, market orders, for buying and selling at the current market price, their advanced order types are somewhat limited compared to other platforms.
Can you give me a specific example?
Sure. They do offer limit orders, which allow you to, set a specific price you're willing to buy or sell at, but they don't currently support stop loss orders, which are designed to automatically sell your crypto if the price drops below a certain level.
So if I'm worried about a sudden price crash, and I'm not constantly monitoring the market, I might be out of luck.
Well, not entirely. They do have price alerts, so you can set those up to be notified if a coin's price moves, significantly.
At least I'd be alerted and could hopefully react quickly. Okay, let's dive a little deeper into these limit order. What are some of the nuances I should be aware of?
So when you're placing a limit order on Robinhood, it's crucial to understand the concept of the spread. The spread is basically the difference between the buy price and the sell price for a particular cryptocurrency.
What causes that difference in price?
It all comes down to liquidity. Liquidity is how easily an asset can be bought or sold. Imagine you're trying to sell like a rare baseball card. It might take a while to find a buyer who's willing to pay your asking price because the market for rare baseball cards is relatively illiquid.
But if I'm selling something like Bitcoin, there are tons of buyers and sellers, so it's more liquid.
Exactly. The spread for Bitcoin is generally much smaller than for lesser known cryptocurrencies because it's a much more liquid market.
Okay, that makes sense. So when I said a limit order, the actual execution price might be slightly different from the estimated price due to this spread.
That's right. And it's also important to remember that limit orders aren't guaranteed to execute. Your limit buy order will only go through if the cryptocurrency's asking price reaches or falls below your set price. Likewise, your limit sell order will only execute if the bid price reaches or exceeds your limit.
It's all about timing and market conditions.
Precisely. Now, shifting gears slightly, let's talk about the risks of simply holding crypto on Robinhood. What are some of the things our listeners should keep in mind?
Are there any specific concerns with holding crypto on Robinhood versus other platforms?
The main consideration, as we discussed earlier,
Yeah.
is that you don't control your private keys. When you hold crypto on Robinhood, they're acting as the custodian of your assets. While they have robust security measures in place, there's always a level of risk associated with entrusting a third party with your crypto.
That not your keys, not your coins, lost stuff.
Exactly. Some people prefer to have, full control over their crypto by using self-custody wallets.
So it comes down to a personal decision about how much control you want versus convenience.
Absolutely. But speaking of the bigger picture, where do you think Robinhood fits into the overall cryptocurrency landscape?
It seems like they're catering to a specific niche, beginners, casual investors, people who prioritize that simplicity and ease of use. Not necessarily the best platform.
Yeah.
For experienced crypto traders who are looking for, a wide selection of altcoins or advanced charting tools.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. They're kind of like a gateway into the world of crypto.
A great starting point, but maybe not the final destination for everyone's crypto journey.
Right, and that's perfectly fine. Not everyone needs or wants the complexity of a full-blown crypto exchange.
Okay, so we've talked about the pros, the cons, where Robinhood fits into the crypto ecosystem. What are some of the key takeaways you'd want our listener to remember about Robinhood crypto?
I think the most important thing is to be aware of the limitations. The biggest one being the fact that you don't control your private keys. You're trusting Robinhood to secure your crypto.
Right, and while they have security measures in place, it's not the same as having full control over your own keys.
Exactly. And then there are the other considerations we discussed, the limited selection of cryptocurrencies, the lack of advanced order types like stop loss orders, and the potential for slightly worse prices due to order flow.
It's all about weighing those trade-offs and deciding if Robinhood aligns with your individual needs and risk tolerance.
Yeah.
But even with these limitations, there's no denying that Robinhood has made crypto investing more accessible to the masses.
Absolutely. They've played a significant role in bringing cryptocurrency into the mainstream.
Okay, this has been a really eye-opening discussion about Robinhood crypto. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's always more to learn. Before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on one more practical aspect: taxes. We briefly mentioned capital gains tax earlier, but it's worth diving a little deeper, don't you think? Okay, so we just finished talking about that tension between centralization and decentralization and how platforms like Robinhood fit into that ongoing debate.
Yeah, it's a complex landscape for sure, but I think it's healthy to have these conversations because it challenges us to think critically about the future of finance and the role that technology plays in shaping it.
I completely agree. And on that note, I'm curious to hear your perspective on the overall direction of cryptocurrency. Where do you see things heading in the next few years?
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be a very rich person.
Yeah.
But based on what we're seeing now, I think a few key trends are likely to continue. First, we're going to see more mainstream adoption of cryptocurrency. It's already happening, but it's going to accelerate as more businesses and institutions embrace it.
So crypto is going to become more integrated into our everyday lives.
Exactly. And second, I think we're going to see more innovation in the decentralized finance space, or DeFi. DeFi is all about creating, financial products and services that are built on blockchains and operate without traditional intermediaries.
So things like lending, borrowing, even insurance.
Yeah.
But all powered by decentralized technology.
Exactly. And third, I think we're going to see more regulatory clarity around cryptocurrency. Governments around the world are still trying to figure out how to regulate this new asset class. But I think we're going to see more concrete frameworks emerging in the coming years.
That makes sense. It's still a relatively young industry, so it's natural for regulations to lag behind innovation.
Exactly. And those regulations will likely shape the future of cryptocurrency in significant ways.
Okay, so mainstream adoption, DeFi innovation, and regulatory clarity. Those are the key trends to watch. But what about the risks? What are some of the potential pitfalls that could derail the progress of cryptocurrency?
Well, one major risk is cybersecurity. Cryptocurrencies are digital assets, which means they're vulnerable to hacking and theft. We've already seen some high-profile hacks and scams in the crypto space, and it's likely that we'll see more in the future.
That's definitely a concern. And I imagine as cryptocurrency becomes more mainstream, it'll also attract more and more attention from bad actors.
Exactly. And another risk is regulatory overreach. While some regulation is necessary to protect investors and prevent illicit activity, too much regulation could stifle innovation and slow down the adoption of cryptocurrency.
So it's about finding that balance between regulation and innovation.
Right. And then there's always the risk of market volatility. Cryptocurrencies are notoriously volatile, and prices can swing wildly in both directions. This can be, both a risk and an opportunity for investors, but it's something to be aware of.
Okay, so cybersecurity risks, regulatory overreach, and market volatility. Those are some serious challenges that the crypto industry will need to address. But zooming back in on Robinhood specifically, what are your final thoughts on the platform?
I think Robinhood is a great entry point for people who are new to cryptocurrency. Their platform is user friendly. They offer, zero fee trading, and they've made it easy to buy, sell, and even transfer crypto. However, it's important to be aware of the limitations. You don't control your private keys when you hold crypto on Robinhood, and their selection of cryptocurrencies and advanced trading features is limited.
So it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But it might not be the right platform for everyone, or for every stage of their crypto journey.
That's a fair assessment.
But this deep dive has been incredibly enlightening. We've covered a lot of ground, from the nuts and bolts of using Robinhood to the broader implications of cryptocurrency for the future of finance.
It's been a pleasure discussing these topics with you.
And we hope our listener feels well equipped to continue exploring the exciting world of crypto, whether they choose Robinhood or another platform. Remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely. And the more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
Yeah.
About your crypto investments.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Robinhood crypto. We hope you found it valuable, and we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of the world of finance and technology.